up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So you guys have been loving these in-depth, informative workout videos, so that's exactly what we're doing again today. So with my new training split, you guys haven't seen this workout yet. Very straightforward workout, all right? We got some RDLs, we got some hip thrusts, we got some of the basics, but I'm gonna give you guys some good cues, some good technique work to help you perform the lifts better. A lot of these cues and tips are like kind of what I feed to my clients like all week long. And they found that it really helps with that mind and muscle connection. So we're gonna hop right into it. I already warmed up. My warm up is very extensive. So if you guys wanna see like a full video on like just how I warm up for my leg days, I think that would be super helpful for you guys. So let me know in the comments. But we're gonna hop right into it. We're gonna start off with RDLs. I'm gonna warm up. We're gonna get things cracking. So per my coach's request, and I've been doing this for a long time, but no shoes when I do a lot of my glute days. Helps you get better mind and muscle connection because you gotta think of your toes being like fingers. All right, people, don't be weird in the comments about that, but you really want to like grip the floor when you're doing all of your leg exercises. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna run you guys through the way we're gonna go about this is I'm gonna give you guys tips, cues, etc., and then you guys are gonna watch me do the thing. So with RDLs, okay, some of the cues that I like to use whenever I'm doing them, heavy pressure on the midfoot and in the ball of the foot. Now you wanna keep your heel still planted on the ground, right? But you wanna actually shift your weight a little bit more forward on your feet. And Javi, which is one of the trainers under Fit Body that's been helping me with my training assessment stuff, big on ball of the foot. Before I even initiate the movement, I'm kind of relaxing the knees a little bit, so I'm not stiff legging it. That's just gonna kind of help your knees not wanna do so much of the knee flexion and movement as you're doing the RDL, so soften the knees. Now, instead of thinking about shifting to the heels and pushing all your weight back, which is what I used to do, I'm actually thinking of driving the upper glute high to the ceiling and really opening up the lower glute, upper hamstring region. So it's almost gonna look like I'm slightly kind of leaning forward, and I'm not leading with the chest. I'm just letting the chest fall as my hips push back and up. So I'm almost thinking of kind of scooping my glutes up to the ceiling rather than pushing them super far back. Oh yeah. We're gonna go a little heavier today. This is probably what my clients hear from me the most. Think of pinching the ribs together and down and holding that. It's a good cue to kind of help you hold a brace. I think a lot of the reason why people can't connect well with their glutes on a lot of different movements is because their ribs are poking all the way out, which means that you're usually arching your back one way or another. So pinch the ribs together and down as you're doing the movement. I send all of my clients different like templates and form cues and techniques for their training. And like I said, like the cues and the execution part of your training is obviously very important for progression, because you could be progressing up in weight but not progressing in your technique, and you could be biasing all the wrong muscles. I've been there too. But anyways, I'm gonna do 2 feeder sets and then go into my working sets. Of course, we got our logbook out. I've been writing down my workout before I even started, so that way I can just kind of, fill stuff in as I go. So I have 3 working sets on these, aiming for that 8 to 10 rep range. Yeah. Ooh, those feel good. Something I do want to touch on really quick, because I'm out of breath. Goodness gracious. The importance of internal and external rotation when doing any type of movement that has hip extension. I always knew it was important, but I've been, with my new training program and assessment, really focusing on, in my warm-ups, making sure I'm getting proper internal and external rotation. So that way, when I'm extending the hips, when I have knee flexion while extending the hips, while I'm trying to hinge, things are actually like moving around the hip joints properly. So again, if you guys want to see like a very in-depth warm-up video for legs, I can do that. Sure can. Yeah. Oh. All right, guys, that was it for that. Those felt really good today. If you guys have been following along with my other videos, you guys would know I mentioned like a weird adductor hamstring thing for the last like 2 months. I'm coming to the conclusion that it's just like my right hamstring has always been a little bit less dominant, a little bit weaker, and I'm really trying to bring the strength up on it. So I'm just being a little bit more diligent about rolling out my hamstrings and my adductor on that side, and it's been helping a lot. But again, with like the internal, external rotation work, that's also been helping quite a bit. All right, moving along. I'm drinking my Axe and Sledge EAAs in the Dead Golf Guy flavor, which is iced tea lemonade, for those of you that are curious. All right, hip thrust. We're doing Smith machine. Last week I tried free weight barbell hip thrust because I do feel like there's a benefit to having stability in a hip thrust versus not. I feel like less stability recruits some of like the stabilizer muscles more, but I think reasonably, like progression wise, I'm just gonna stay with the Smith machine, because especially when I travel, you can find a good Smith machine at any gym. Sometimes it's hard to finagle a good free weight barbell hip thrust. So the biggest thing with this training block for me is progression. So whatever I can stay consistent with, that's what I'm gonna do. But we're gonna warm up. I got 3 sets of, I believe 8 to 10. I gotta double check on that. So with placement of both your feet, the back padding, etc., pretty much with the hip thrust, in my opinion, you want like where your sports bra line is, or guys like mid-back, on the edge of whatever pad you're using. And what's important is a lot of people get a lot of quads doing hip thrusts if they use a bench, because the bench is going to put, for most people, unless you're tall, it's going to put your shoulders higher than your knees. So if we're loading our midline, right, our hips, and our shoulders are higher than our knees, a lot of that weight is going to go into the front of our body, so our quads, right? We want to make sure our shoulders and knees are in a nice like straight horizontal line, feet stacked under the toes. I don't know why I like giving you guys cues as I'm like out of breath, but so again, similar with RDLs, drive through the ball of the feet, midfoot, keep the heel flat still. A big game changer for me on this one has been, as I'm coming down, I actually think of, while I'm really pushing into the ball of my feet, actually trying to bring my knees, not literally, but thinking of bringing my knees to the bar as I come down. So essentially, that would be like, as I'm coming down here, pushing hard through the ball of my feet, thinking of bringing my knees in. It really helps me like get that good stretch on my lower glute, and then really like power through the top. If you struggle reaching full hip extension, which that's something I've always struggled with a little bit with these, is making sure you're stretching your hip flexors and firing them up during your warm-ups before you get started on these. It's a little tidbit. Oh my gosh. Oh, yep. Nice. Okay. So I wasn't gonna originally do a drop set, but sometimes in off season when I'm eating like a bajillion carbs, for me at least, if I like want to add in a little bit more intensity without adding necessarily like a lot more volume, if I'm feeling good enough, at the end of my last, if it's a back off set, I'll pull off like 40% of the weight, just kind of rep it out. Yeah, like in prep I would never do that. That'd be silly goose of me, but we're not in prep, so what do I have next? Seated hamstring curls. This is my one primary hamstring movement of the week. Obviously I'm like, I didn't say anything. I was just waiting for you to notice I was staring at you.
Stop staring. It's impolite.
I can be as impolite as I want with you.
You don't own this channel. You don't own me.
I own you. Yeah, I own you. Y'all heard it here. Anyways, okay, seated hamstring curls is my primary hamstring movement of the week. Indirectly hitting my hamstrings, doing like RDLs and stuff like that, but the thing is, my hamstrings like to grow like a literal weed. Glutes not so much, so I need my glutes to pick it up here, but I need to maintain my hamstrings, you know? That's the goal. So, some people ask me, they're like, how do I grow my hamstrings? Riley, please, how do I do it? You guys need to seriously just, I don't want to say spam different variations of hamstring curls, but realistically, you guys, there's only a couple of movements to like really hit the hamstrings and the hamstrings alone. A lying hamstring curl, a seated hamstring curl, and like really an SLDL. Other people might say there's other ones, which there is, but those are going to be like your big three. I've always been an advocate for a stiff leg deadlift. Not like ego lifting, but like a true SLDL. Once you nail the form on those, game changer. But hello, we're stuck. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if you guys want to grow your hamstrings, just do the exercises right. Okay, that's how I could say it could be for any muscle group, but especially for hamstrings. Like, make sure you're connecting properly with all the movements that you're doing and not just flinging around weight. And I don't know what it is, but I've noticed a trend of people will go really hard on like leg extensions, but like leg curls, they kind of just go through them. Have some intention, people. You know, gently. Have some intention. All right. Warming up. So now this is when another good example of why you should have a logbook, because I was trying to remember right now what my working set weight was last week and I couldn't remember, but guess what? I can just flip a page and look. All right, so last time I did these, I got 90 pounds for 11 reps plus 1 assisted rep. That's why I always write in like the assisted or half reps. Chaz was spotting me, so my range for reps is 10 to 12. So I'm actually going to push a little bit heavier this week. This one, I wish this was like in 5-pound increments, but I'm gonna have to go from 90 to 105, and I wanna try to get, we're gonna go for 9 reps. Is that gonna happen? TBD. No, we're gonna make it happen. You heard it here. Yeah, okay. Ooh. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I think I said I wanted like 8 or 9. I got 8, I think. That's what I'm talking about. Really quick. With these, this specific hamstring curl, it's kind of hard because of the positioning, but make sure you're not, like, some of you guys look like you're like, you know, what is that one movie? The Titanic? Some of you guys are doing Titanic as you're curling. All right. Like, push your back against the pad. If you're like arching and like doing freaking dolphin tail as you're doing these, you're not, like, yes, you're using your hamstrings, but you're also using a lot of momentum. So really keep it in the hamstrings, keep this tight. This should be moving, not, again, we're not doing Titanic dolphin tail. I don't know where that came from, but I feel like that was a pretty good reference, no? Everyone's like, what is she talking about? Okay, so now my second working weight is gonna be my top set weight from last week's session. You guys getting the trend here? You know, it's like that one emoji, the little graph emoji. We're on the ups, all right? Some weeks you will be on the downs, and if you're like Chaz, you'll have to do a lap around the gym if you fail the set that you were trying to increase weight on. Don't tell them I said that, but feeling pretty good today, people. That wasn't the prettiest set, but see, I don't know if you guys saw that, but I kind of had to like self-correct my dolphin tail back, like on the 6th rep on that one. Because like for some reason with this one, my chest does this too, but my butt starts sliding forward, so you kind of start compensating by doing dolphin tail, okay? And you gotta kind of just, again, keep those mental cues to self-correct as you're doing your sets. So we get 8. So again, with my training, I'm trying to do pretty much, for the most part, like 2 good working sets. And then once I know I'm like I'm starting to almost go under the rep range of what I'm trying to stay in, I'm gonna drop the weight and make sure that my last set is not till failure, but still like 3-ish reps in reserve. And just really making sure technique and form is well executed. That was not 3 reps in reserve. That was like 1, but I guess we're not leading by example today. Last compound movement of today is going to be a kneeling hip thrust. I think you guys have seen me do these once before. So originally in this program I had frogs, for those of you that know what that is. It's like essentially the most like look crazy exercise you can do in the gym. And I connected well with them, but honestly, I'm the last person to complain about like a setup and stuff like that and like having to take time to set something up, but I just don't see myself being able to progress as well on something like that, because there's certain limiting factors to like frog pumps where you're like leaning on a bench and stuff, like too much weight on the bar starts pushing into my stomach and whatever. So that's why, you know, I told my coach, I was like, hey, can we swap for these instead? Because you guys will see this next movement I connect really, really well with. All right. All right, so kneeling hip thrust. If you guys don't have this, you can do similar, would be anything that has you hinging with some knee bend. So something kind of like I would do a hyperextension in place of this if I didn't have this. Hyperextension is like a little bit different because your legs are straight, but so at this point in the workout, guys, I'm as warmed up as I'm gonna be. We're at the tail end of the workout. There's not really gonna be a need for me, especially on a very stable exercise like this, to have to do warm-up sets, honestly. So I'm gonna go straight into working sets here. A little bit higher reps. I don't know why I took my shoes off. I needed those. But we're doing 3 sets of 15 here, really focusing on, again, full extension, pressing hard through the midfoot. Okay, so I think a lot of people struggle with, I used to as well, like any type of hyperextension movement or something similar to this, is because your back is loaded with the weight, or whenever somebody's legs have to be stable in a glute movement, I feel like it makes them think like, okay, if I'm moving my back, but not my legs, I gotta use my back. You wanna use, obviously, your glutes and like your hamstrings posterior on this. So think of hip thrusting into this pad or a hyperextension pad when you're doing these, rather than, you're not lifting up with your back. You're keeping your back tight and you're thrusting with your glutes. That'll be a good one for those of you that struggle. Ugh. Ooh. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not really decreasing weight too much. I literally pulled off like 5 pounds. It's been a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's been probably like 6 or 7 weeks since I've done this exercise. So just kind of finding my baseline again of like what my good weight range is. That was a good working set weight. I probably could have done that on the first one, but that's okay. Again, I'll make note of it for next week. Yeah, just gonna drop off a little bit of weight. And again, just try to stay in that. Now I'm trying to get the consistent 15 reps rather than being in like a rep range of like 12 to 15, if that makes sense. But last set here, and then we just have abductions, and that's it, and that's it. And a half reps. Take it, I'll take it. Okay. All right, guys, last thing, abductions. And then that's a freaking wrap. I really enjoy workouts like this that are just straightforward, compound movements that you connect well with and can progress on. Not a whole lot of hoopla. A whole lot of extra 10 sets of hip thrusts. We don't do all that. If you can do, you know what, I will stand on this, and it might hurt some people's feelings, but if you can do 10 sets of hip thrusts in one workout, you are not pushing hard enough on the first 4 sets. I'm gonna go see if they have yoga blocks. Okay guys, I'm gonna do 3 sets of abductions. These yoga blocks are like a little bit bigger than what I need them to be, but we're gonna make them work. This is just gonna help me get more range of motion here. This specific machine does not, these are way too far apart on their own for me to get the right positioning. So I'm leaning back on these to really get upper glute, and I'm actually gonna lift my hips off the pad just a little bit. So I'm not going super heavy on these, I'm just focusing on connecting really well. Oh my goodness. I forgot to mention to you guys, so I'm doing 1 set leaning back, 1 set leaning forward, 1 set sitting upright. I'm moving a little bit faster than I would on all my other exercises, because we're kind of just trying to get, well, a pump, if you will, to the upper glute. These are still obviously working sets, but the goal is to not like be under a ton of time under tension. I'm really just trying to get, again, blood flow and really get the upper glutes just kind of pumped up, you know? Nice. Okay, guys. That's it. That is it for today's lift. Again, straightforward to the point. We like that. We like that. Your workouts don't always need to be fancy schmancy movements. There is some fancy schmancy movements that I really like, but I'm really all about nailing the basics, you guys. And like over time, like you guys, I've been lifting for like 6.5, 7 years at this point, and like I'm still learning new things every single week on the most basic exercises. So always have that mindset going into your training of like, there's always more to learn. There's always a way to better connect with exercises. And yeah, sometimes I think it's good to take a step back and analyze, like, am I connecting the way I'm supposed to? Am I actually getting stronger in the movements in the way that I'm supposed to? Just, yeah, kind of like ego checking yourself with your lifts. But I hope this was insightful and helpful for you guys. Hope you guys stick around. Plenty more of this kind of content to come, and obviously like other styles of content as well. I have a couple like lifestyle vlogs and that kind of style of videos to upload for you guys as well. But as always, thank you guys for your support. I am taking on clients right now, a couple more, both prep and lifestyle, really focusing on taking on some really solid prep clients right now to put some people on stage here in the next 6 months, year plus. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll leave the links for all that down below. But thank you guys so much for your support. Code Riley for Young LA, Action Sledge, Pride Foods. If you guys are curious, this shirt is from Young LA, you know. But seriously, thank you guys so much for all your support. It's like really cool to see like the effort that both me and Mox, my wonderful videographer, putting into the videos, really like resonating with you guys. And yeah, it's cool building up a little community on here. So we're gonna keep it up and be consistent with it. But I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, whole lot of happiness.